As we get ready to head into NFL training camp, each team's fan base has optimism. Saints fans have had a win-now mentality due to still having the taste of the success enjoyed in the Peyton Breeze era. Now heading past the post-Dennis Allen-Derek Carr failed experiment, the Kellen Moore regime can begin. But now some fans are moving with trepidation due to questions about how the team can succeed moving forward. Here we look at 5 key factors that could determine whether the New Orleans Saints will trend upwards and whether brighter days are to come. Number 1. What is Kellen Moore's vision as a coach, and how can he succeed? Unlike the previous coach, Moore comes with a very good pedigree. With initial stops as offensive coordinator in Dallas and Los Angeles, he stamped his exclamation point, winning the Super Bowl last year in Philadelphia for the Eagles. While Dennis Allen was an 8-28 coach prior to getting the nod as the head man in New Orleans, Moore fits the criteria for what succeeded in the league in recent years, and that's been an offensive-minded head coach at the helm. If Moore hits, the team can have success for years to come without having to worry about their offensive coordinator being plucked away to another team. But Moore has to find the answers to questions he himself has for his roster and staff, such as, Number 2, the most obvious question: who will start at quarterback, and how effective will he be? In the previous video, we discussed Spencer Rattler versus Tyler Shuck in 5 categories. Though Kellen Moore drafted Shuck and surely wants him to succeed, early indications are that not only is Rattler doing well, but also that Kellen Moore has had his eye on him and acknowledges both his progress and situation.
I think for Spencer's situation, anytime you get a chance to play, there's always value and lessons in that, no matter the circumstance. I thought, he handled himself well last year competing and navigating, potentially a few that were a little bit of a challenging situations. And then for any guy in general, your second off season is always a huge jump. I think that's historically everyone, references that as that second year jump for these guys, because the first year, there's a little bit of swimming, going into that. You go right from your college season right into that the draft process, which is a long process for these guys. And then we throw them right into football again. And so they've been through a lot. And so that second year, you find some rhythm, you find some continuity in yourself. You're able to kind of build your own off-season program. And so Spencer's done an excellent job.
Number 3, can the Saints control the line of scrimmage behind a revamped defensive line? First-round pick Kelvin Banks has been slotted at left defensive tackle so far, moving last year's first-rounder Staley back at his college position on the right, and all-pro level center Eric McCoy bracketed by right guard Cesar Ruiz, and the improving Trevor Penning now potentially moving to a better position inside at left. If this combination works, it could be the most important unit on the team, as a potent running attack would take pressure off of whoever is under center and lead to the first building block on the road to redemption for a finally rebuilding team. Number 4, was Brandon Staley the right hire on the defensive side of the ball? It's been well chronicled that while Dennis Allen wasn't the right head coach for the team, he was a very good defensive coordinator and a staple of the Sean Payton-led playoff teams of the 2010s. Staley, meanwhile, gained the positive part of his reputation by leading them in his lone year as defensive coordinator. Staley helped guide the Rams' defense to first in points and total yards allowed in 2020. But due to his failures as head coach in Los Angeles, there's pessimism about how he can manage an aging defense with its staples: 36-year-old Demario Davis, 36-year-old Cam Jordan, and 33-year-old Tyrann Mathieu. With a potential switch to a 3-4 defense, we'll see a whole new look with older players, and we'll see how it translates. Having a positive outlook, let's say the answer to all the questions trend upwards. Kellen Moore does a fine job of not only putting a positive offensive product on the field, but in hiring Brandon Staley as DC. Let's say the offensive line becomes a strength, and team legend Alvin Kamara has a great season running behind it, while young Kendre Miller and rookie Devin Neal show enough flash to give fans confidence that the team will form a nice 1-2 punch moving forward. Not only that, but the team finds a nice complement to speed receivers Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed in either Cedric Wilson, second-year big-bodied receiver Bub Means, or the recently acquired Donovan Peoples-Jones, combined with a great year from tight end Juwan Johnson, and they get great play in all 3 phases of the game. One of the most overlooked questions at 5 is, can this team stay healthy, particularly on the offensive side of the ball? According to an article at St. Wire, the Saints still found themselves very high in the injury rankings, ending up as the 4th most impacted team in the league. The adjusted games lost stat takes into account who was injured and their impact on the game. New Orleans saw most of their injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and the AGL reflects that. There was no offense more impacted by injuries than the Saints. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Eric McCoy, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed were the biggest injuries for the Saints, and were all on the offensive side of the ball. Losing your starting quarterback is a huge obstacle. When combined with other absences, the hurdle became insurmountable. Offensively, you operated without a starting quarterback for pretty much half of the season. In that time frame, Spencer Rattler wasn't throwing to starting receivers and had to deal with multiple backup offensive linemen. While the defense had their struggles, it's hard to point to injuries as the reason for the fall off. They ranked as the 5th least impacted team by adjusted games lost. The ingredients for success weren't there for the Saints offense, and the AGL metric accurately portrays the impact. Losing that many players at critical positions was a defining aspect of the 2025 campaign. So in a way, AGL is an accurate summary of the Saints season. If the Saints' fortunes are to change, the most overlooked and perhaps important factor will be health. Because as so many sports pundits and fans alike say, the most important ability is availability. So if the Saints brass can bring in a proper staff to lessen the soft tissue injuries that have devastated the team for years, that'll go a long way to turning around their fortunes. If you like this content, please subscribe and leave your comments below.